Good morning, November 18th. Just a few more days away from Turkey Day, Thanksgiving. I was in the grocery store, you guys, yesterday, and they were just like buying up turkeys everywhere. I was like, first of all, I had to wait in line for them to get this big ass turkey. The lady kept like nodding at me. I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, a lot of stuff has come across the wire over the weekend, and I'll tell you. Well, it has to do with the Biden. One of them has to do with the Biden administration turning totally the other way now. And soon as the midterms were over, you have Joe Biden and his administration now have changed the tune of how the U.S. economy is actually moving, and it isn't good. It's not good. And, I knew this, and we've been saying this now for a while, but now you got the Biden administration literally coming out and saying that 2023 can be very, upsetting for us. So I want to ask you all a question, and then I'm going to show you a video from a lady named Medora Lee. And, I'll explain it to you here in a minute. But I want to ask you all a question. And my question is, and I heard y'all arguing about different things. They're already arguing, y'all. I heard them bickering back and forth about Bill Clinton being a pedophile and Trump being a pedophile. And I heard them talking about all these things. I just kind of stay neutral, I allegedly stay out of it. But
Really?
Yeah. Well, there's interesting news. There's a judge now that is literally going to unseal these documents that literally show Jeffrey Epstein's associates in this pedophile case. And they say Trump's name's in there. I don't know. We're going to find out what name's in there. But let's not jump the gun. I want to get back to our economy because the economy is becoming a shithole. I don't care what anybody says. I see what's going on. I see what inflation is doing to people's pocketbooks. They'll try to butter it up and make it sound like it's really good, but now you have people like the administration where Joe Biden is now coming out and singing a different song. In fact, Brett Bart reported this past Friday that Biden's America is expecting setbacks, is what he's saying, in ongoing attempts to fix the economy. And this is what they say. It's going to take time to get inflation back to normal levels. I didn't think we had it there with Biden. He said everything was great, didn't he? But it's going to take time. How much time? Well, according to Powell and them and everyone else, they're saying, and Yellen, didn't she say 2 years?
Yeah, she just said that.
Are you all out there ready for a whole, that means 2022, 2020, 2024, you may finally get some money back in your bank account. You may finally be able to purchase a house or a car or something like that because the inflation rates have gone down instead of gone up like they are right now. But anyway, he says inflation back to normal as we keep our job market strong. Remember, that's the one thing that Powell has been worried about, is he's been worried about our jobs, right? Well, jobs, massive layoffs. Remember, I've always said this, that massive layoffs are coming. Well, guess what? There's even more layoffs coming out. There's more and more and more. And they just keep coming. And that means that there's more and more people out there in the workforce that are either looking for a job or tired of a job or may have just committed suicide because they're tired of looking. It happens. It really happens. And so he's saying we could see setbacks along the way, and he said at the White House promising to stay laser focused on the economy. But it looks to me like they're more after President Trump and all this other crap than listening to them really try to get inflation or immigration under control. Hey, get some of that damn inflation and immigration under control, and we might have something here. But when you've got all these people coming across the border with no money or whatever it is that they've got, and then the Biden administration gives it to them, I don't know. And he also claimed that inflation at the grocery store was down slightly. I was at the grocery store yesterday. I didn't see no down slightly. He keeps talking about buying off-brand products. Maybe that's what he's talking about. Is that what you're talking about, Sleepy Joe? You talking about the drop in the prices of unbranded Raisin Bran? Maybe unbranded bacon? Maybe unbranded eggs? I don't think so. Raisins are raisins, and raisins are expensive. I saw the price of raisins. I saw the price of eggs. I saw the price of bacon. I didn't see any freaking downside on the inflation. So he says even though, it's down slightly, even though the cost of food at homes is up 12.4% from the previous year. It's crazy. Crazy. I want to ask you all a question. What's the difference, or what do you think is worse? Is inflation worse, or is a recession worse? What's your definition of that? Come on, teacher.
I think inflation is worse because it really undermining the whole currency and the value of everything across the board. And Rob made a great point earlier today. We were talking about it. A recession doesn't necessarily affect everybody, right? It will affect a lot of people, and that's a tragedy. But I think with a recession, you may be out of a job, and that would be a really, really bad thing. But you can always get a new job, and eventually if you're determined, you will get a job, and things will turn around. But inflation really wipes out the whole fundamentals of the currency. You're talking about devaluing the currency, and there's nothing you can really do about it because you have to eat. You have to rent a place, you have to get a car. So certain things in life you can't get around. But a recession, it depends how deep the recession is. If it really becomes a Great Depression, then you're really
a depression is definitely worse than a recession.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but a depression.
And we're talking about a mild recession, right?
I don't know. I think we're already in a mild recession, and I think it's going to get a lot worse.
What if you had let me ask you this. Can you have inflation and a recession together?
Yeah, stagflation. That's what they call stagflation, which we had in the 70s when prices were going up, but the growth was stagnant. So I think a lot of economists have said we're in a situation similar to that. And I think we're probably in that right now.
Yeah.
But it's starting to look like in order to get inflation down, and remember, they can't get the rates to go up to 15-18% like Paul Volcker did. We can't do that in today's day and age because it'll bankrupt the country.
Let me ask you a question. If we have a recession, can the stock market still crash in 2023?
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
One thing me and Andy were talking about was, according to the Federal Reserve economic data, is that after every recession, inflation tends to go down 7%. So if inflation's at 8%, you have a recession. That then puts inflation at 1%. Not to say that inflation won't go back up, but traditionally, after every recession, according to the Federal Reserve's economic data, it looks like after a recession, inflation tends to go down by 7%.
Well, Powell keeps telling us, listen to this. This is why I believe that the stock market crash is coming in 2023.
For sure. It's on the way.
And those of you that have any type of retirement accounts or anything like that, listen, put your listening ears on and listen to this one. Because Powell is telling us that every chance he gets, that he would rather hike the rates too high and risk a recession than lower them too early and actually watch inflation stick, right? So I'm going to show you all a video. I found this video.
Can I just make a quick comment on that? I think Powell, he's underestimating how bad things are in the economy now. Things are going to get worse very, very quickly.
Well, he has to, because here's why. Remember, they've let the bear loose. They've let this bear loose. This monster is loose. And they know this monster is loose. But they just can't come out and tell you that the sky is falling, Andy, because if they do, then people start to pull money out of the bank. They start freaking out, right? Bank runs.
What I'm saying is he's saying, we would rather we want to bring up rates. He's basically saying bringing down inflation is more than important than if we have a mild recession or something like that. But I think we're going to go more quickly into recession than he thinks, and things are going to get bad very quickly. We're already seeing it, and he's going to be forced to change his tune. He was wrong before multiple times on inflation, and I think he's wrong again when it comes to recession.
But the thing is, I mean, the Federal Reserve, they're not idiots. They're not dumb. They know exactly what they were doing. I personally feel, and I could be completely wrong, is that this is an orchestrated event of the government, of the Federal Reserve, which is a private agency, to actually put us into a position to where we rely on them even more, right? Because if you're in a recession, who do you rely on? Yeah. You rely on the government even more to bail you out, right? Yeah. So anyway, what's this video?
So, all right, listen. This is why, before I show this video, this is why we actually want to start getting into gold and silver if you haven't already. And the reason being is you're going to need something to fall back onto as a hedge against this dollar as the dollar ends up collapsing, right? There's a great website out there, y'all. It's called thedollarcollapse.com. And it's interesting if y'all want to go look at it. There's a lot of topics in there from the way the economy is going. There's videos in there. There's all sorts of different librarian, I would call it, because there's a lot of things that you can go on there and educate yourself with. All right, let me show you this video. It literally is talking about what the Federal Reserve's key interest rate hikes mean for your finances. All right, here we go.
As everybody knows who's gone to the grocery store or to put gas in their tank, prices are soaring everywhere and wages just aren't keeping up. And so to counter that 40-year high in inflation, the Fed has been trying to raise rates. So by raising interest rates, the Fed is hoping to make borrowing costs higher to get people to maybe think twice about buying something. Back in March, we reached a 40-year high. In April, it came down a little bit, but there was an alarming consumer inflation report that showed that inflation started to accelerate again, and we reached a new 40-year high. And so that made people think that the Fed's going to have to walk this very, very tightrope because they have to raise rates to cool demand, and maybe inflation will cool off. So when the Fed raises its benchmark interest rate, which is it's a short-term interest rate called the Fed funds rate, it doesn't affect everybody's interest rates right away, but it has a ripple effect through the market, and basically the rates will tend to go in the same direction and rise with the Fed's increases. Americans should be prepared to see that their interest rates on their credit cards are going to start to rise. If you haven't already bought a house and locked in a low mortgage rate, your house hunt is going to cost a little more because the interest rates will be up. But I would recommend to Americans to start organizing their debt and looking at paying off the high interest rate debt if they can, as much as they can, because that's only going to go higher. With inflation being so very high, I think people are expecting probably a rate hike whenever the Fed meets, at every one of its monthly meetings throughout the rest of the year. So the bigger question is just how high, how much each time they meet will they raise rates. Some people are thinking that the Fed might be able to ease off a little bit later this year as inflation comes down, and other people think that the Fed is going to have to really work very hard with gas prices soaring, food prices soaring so quickly.
I had to show you that because, she's absolutely right. And more people, as we are hearing, in fact, we were talking about this just last week, Rob and Andy, that people are using their credit cards more and more and more. And as those interest rates go higher, people are getting themselves dug deeper and deeper into debt. You want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, that shows that we are already really starting to dip our toe in the recession water here, because we have credit card spending, which is very reflective of what's going on with the average American at a 15-year high. So that tells you people don't have enough to make ends meet. They're borrowing. Credit card rates we know are astronomical. You know, it's really criminal what they charge on credit cards. And for the person who doesn't have good credit, it's even worse. So people are really getting hammered. I mean, I think I've told the story before when my lease was up on my car, about 6 months ago, and I went in and I was going to do a new lease, and I wanted basically the same car, right? I was happy with it. So I went in, and my lease had gone with the same car in a 3-year period. It had gone from $225, and they wanted $380 for the same car. Same car.
You mean payment?
Yeah, payment. Yeah,
monthly payment
for a lease. Yeah, went from $225 to $380.
Wow.
Which is a huge jump. That's
Think
like
about if it goes
70%.
Yeah. Every month. It seems like every month now they've been raising.
And this was 6 months ago, and it's probably even worse.
I heard that the average car payment right now, not lease, but average car payment, it's insane. It's like $700 a month.
It's getting worse and
That's
worse.
what I'm hearing.
It's getting worse and worse, and a lot of people, you just can't do without a car, especially in a city like Los Angeles where we live. You basically almost have to have a car.
You definitely don't want to get on a bus.
Unless you're lucky enough
you might not get back off.
Right. Unless you're lucky to live 2 blocks away from where you work. Some people are very lucky in that way, and they don't need to drive,
walk.
right?
Do like I do and walk
right.
with my dog.
You can walk with your dog.
They know you're going to mess with me and Romeo.
Nobody's going to. All the loonies on Hollywood Boulevard, they're not going to mess with Romeo. So, this is real, and I think Powell.
What do you think this is going to do? And the reason I'm asking you this is the Gateway Pundit came out with a great story, and they were talking about people in the Northeast now are turning off their heat. Listen to this.
Northeast.
They're turning off their heat because they can't afford the skyrocketing energy price.
Well, let me share something with you.
Yeah,
skyrocketing.
You got an East Coast.
Let me share.
Right?
So it's so funny you say that. So my mother had to recently take in my cousin Melissa, her 2 kids.
Where's this at?
Outside of D.C.
Wow.
Yeah, Maryland, outside of D.C.
Yeah, that's where they're talking. Billy and all.
So she had to take in my cousin Melissa, her 2 kids, my cousin Beba, her husband, and her 2 kids, as well as my Aunt Janet and her boyfriend, because, my mom, my dad, they're very, very well off.
I hope they have a big house.
Yeah, they have about 7 bedrooms.
Wow.
They have a really big home. Now our house is filled with what? 2, 6.
And not because
2, 4,
it's the
6,
holiday.
8,
Not because it's the
10
holiday.
people right now live in her house.
Because they can't afford to stay in their own home?
Because with the rising energy costs and it's really brick right now.
It's interesting.
Very, very brick and cold right
Robert,
now in Maryland.
There was an elder person that spoke, and this was a retired Philly resident, and he said he will keep his house 50 to 55 degrees and won't turn the heat on until his teeth chatter.
Yeah.
That is so sad. In an effort to ration his oil, because filling his tank, Andy, it cost him $1,500.
Yeah, little.
So and from what I'm hearing, they're about to have some frigid weather.
Yeah.
It's getting really bad. I mean, look at Brooklyn. Was it Brooklyn and Bronx and all that in New York? They just got dumped. Buffalo.
The
snowstorm. Oh my God. Yeah.
They just get.
They got like 6 feet or 7 feet of snow.
One of the worst snowstorms in history.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And it's only November.
Just November.
I know. Usually
you see that like after December.
Wait till the next couple of months.
Well, we've been talking about. I want to share us updating news on the railroad. Remember, there was going back to the table. Okay.
Right.
So it's interesting. So workers at 2 of the country's biggest rail unions, they now are split over a tentative contract that their leaders had actually hashed out with the railroad company, the freight company, and now leaving open the possibility of debilitating this rail strike in the middle of the season, the holiday season right now. So I want to share with you the update. So 24,000 members of the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainsmen, which represent the train engineers, they voted in favor of the deal. But don't get happy yet, because the 28,000 members of the Smart TD union, which represent the rail conductors, was split on the contract. So it was the fourth no vote.
What does that mean for us?
Well, the unions have been negotiating with these rail companies. So the no vote is a rejection of the compromise worked out, or the compromise in the worked out in the September between these union leaders and their companies, with the help of the White House and the Labor Secretary Marty Walsh. All right, but since the compromise, these several unions now have signaled their discontent, and they are not happy. In other words, it's not going anywhere right now. So these railroad companies and these unions, they still have only 2.5 weeks to return to the table to try and iron out this new deal. In other words, it hasn't been signed. In other words, it's not there yet. They're not there yet. But if these parties are unable to do so by December the 8th, then these unions will strike the next day. And that's the latest reflection on the workforce, that dissatisfaction is going on right now. So can you imagine December the 9th? Remember, Turkey Day is Thursday. That's what, the 28th? 25th? I don't even know. I do Turkey Day by myself, me and my dog. In fact, I bought 3 slices of turkey, some cranberry, and I'll make it look like I cooked it. Yeah. Put it on a plate, make it look like I cooked it, and so on. Yeah. Anyway,
I think we're really headed. I think this rail strike, this could be really bad. I mean, it's amazing they haven't resolved it yet, but I think we're just headed to really, really troubling economic waters.
I think we're going to have 2 days.
I think we're going to have very significant economic events over the next couple of months that are really going to deepen the recession. We're really going to start to see that, and it may be one thing or another. Look what just happened. We talked about the FTX crypto.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of the FTX, let me ask you if you heard this. So that Bahama house that was up for sale in the Bahamas? It turns out that was a fake listing. Have you heard about this? Yeah, 100%. The penthouse was fake. It wasn't even real.
Wasn't?
The listing was fake.
Yeah, it was a fake listing. He hasn't got it up for sale. No, but he can't do anything because all his assets have been frozen. Everything has been frozen.
But what I'm saying is, think of what happened there. The amount, the incredible fraud and the deception of FTX. What could be even worse is, what if our whole economic system is structured like FTX? That it's really
it is, though.
It is, and that's what we've been.
Well, there was another.
It's really built. It's built like a house of cards with all these bullshit, phony investors, money laundering, and all of this. And I mean, we could see FTX multiplied by multiple times. We could see it dramatically worse, something like that. If our economy, it's really not built on anything solid, then we're in real trouble.
Speaking about,
you better have some gold and silver.
Speaking about solid, there was, according to ABC, across the wire, there was an Ohio man that was just arrested and charged by the federal government. Guess what he did? He defrauded investors and was charged by the Justice Department with defrauding these investors for $10 million. And guess what it was for? Crypto. This guy.
Oh, this guy's small potatoes.
And he's only 20. Yeah, but here's another one. Only 27 years old, has a history of investment fraud, right? And the Justice Department just alleged that the scheme, they say, was no different than any other of these fraudulent crypto. This is why Rob, this is why I'm a firm believer of having hard assets, having something real, like instead of this digital air that these kids are 27, like you're, that are out there peddling these fake digital air tokens that aren't even real. And that's what this kid was caught with. And you know what's really sad is they went after elderly people to do this, and they got them. Millions of dollars that these people worked so hard to put into their pockets and then or into their retirement. And that's what this guy was doing. He was going into their retirement and taking out their retirement. This has got to stop. And, you know, from what I'm hearing, this guy from the CEO of Binance now, there's going to be a more upsetting of the apple cart, meaning these cryptocurrency tokens. We're going to see even more of this.
Well, that's a heaven sent, you know, because we need to wash out and get rid of the cruddy and shitty crypto.
Oh my God, here we go again.
Right, and you really have to focus on blue chips like physical gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. It's unprecedented that, you know, this guy ran a scheme like that. But the bottom line is this: whether it's crypto, whether it's the traditional markets, you know, most people fail to understand and realize that fractional reserve banking will ultimately be the demise of any depositor, any creditor to a bank or institution. And that's exactly how FTX was set up. They were set up like a traditional institution or bank to where the client deposits the money, that money is then lended out 10, 20, 30, 50, 60 times, right? And there's really not much available cash on hand for that initial depositor, right? So it just comes down to it was a basic mirror of, you know, our traditional systems we have right now, which is, you know, fractional reserve banking systems, right? So very unprecedented, but you're absolutely right. You know,
but instead of you know, $50 billion being on the table, you know, we're talking about what the whole value of the financial system, a couple $100 trillion.
Yeah.
You're talking about something like that. And if there's a liquidity crisis like this and people realize, hey, my money isn't really there.
Yeah.
You know, this money is created out of thin air. And the level, you have the level of fraud and malfeasance that you had with FTX. If that's going on, then people are screwed. The whole society is really going to be in for something that we've never, the likes of which we've never seen.
You know, I'll tell you, you know who this French president is, right? Emmanuel Macron. Okay.
Can't stand him.
Let me show you a video that I got over the weekend.
He's bowing down before Klaus Schwab.
Well, you got to see this. Wait till you see this. Listen to this.
Jungle, and we have two big elephants trying to become more and more nervous. If they become very nervous and start war, it will be a problem for the rest of the jungle. They need cooperation of a lot of other animals. Tigers, monkeys, and so on. Are you on the US and the China side? Because now, progressively, a lot of people would like to see there are two orders in this world. This is a huge mistake, even for both the US and China. We need a single global order.
I knew you'd like that one, right?
Yeah, I love this, right. Yeah.
One world order. Who talks about that?
The World Economic Forum.
They've been talking about that for 30 years.
Yeah.
Trudeau.
It's not a surprise, but it's just fucking, this guy's repulsive.
Right?
I just threw him off a little bit.
I didn't think you'd like that one. He's talking about this one world order, and I just wanted to get your views on what you think about one world order.
Yeah, these are the people who think they know what's best for everyone, and they think that they're going to make decisions in their infinite wisdom and altruism. They're going to make decisions for everybody, which is just a complete violation of individual rights, of our Constitution, of individual sovereignty. It's national sovereignty. It's a violation of that. It's really what it is. These are people that are just connected to very, very powerful corporations and government, and what they want to do is only in their own interest.
What about in Brazil right now? Oh my God! Think about if you were living in Brazil, right? And you've got this new president over there, Lula, that ousted Bolsonaro somehow, according to, well, allegedly, according to all of the millions of people that are, and the military that are on the street protesting. And speaking of protesting, if you're caught protesting, Lula signed an order allowing children's services to take your children away from you if you're caught protesting. Wow.
That is
now your children are gone.
This is really, really shocking. This is far worse than what they were doing in Canada with the truckers.
I couldn't believe what I heard.
They're freezing bank accounts again, people.
Bank accounts is minor compared to children.
They're taking
they're taking your livelihood
children
away.
They're freezing your bank account and all your assets, and you're sitting there wondering, my account's FDIC insured. No, it's not. They may say that, but when the time comes, if you're a person who goes against the system or goes against the status quo and the order, they will do things like this to you, and you better have some alternative assets. This is the kind of thing that just makes me break out in a cold sweat at night. This is pure tyranny.
It's crazy. Speaking of crazy, Twitter. Let's talk about Twitter for a minute. Elon Musk. So Elon Musk did something that was brilliant over the weekend, or I think he started it on Friday. And he literally tweeted out like, hey, how many of you out there? He did a poll. And it's interesting.
Trump.
Yeah, for President Trump, our former president. And he was asking like how many of the Twitter users wanted to bring President Trump and allow him back on Twitter. And what do you think it came out?
I saw that Trump, more people voted to reinstate him. It was like 52% to 48.
Yeah,
something that bothered. I was bothered by that, and I'll tell you why.
It's almost like the election when he was running for president.
Yeah,
on the second time.
I mean, that bothers me because Musk, he's the CEO, and he should be able to make a decision. Not referring to the popular vote, but he should make the decision on principle and have clear principles about why Trump comes back. So I wasn't a fan of just taking a poll and seeing what happened.
All right, come on, you're smarter than that, Andy. You're smarter. Why do you think he did it?
He took a poll. That's not a principled decision on why somebody should be on the platform or not.
In my view, now this is my
view. I didn't like that.
Listen. All right, that's your view. My view is that he did it to see exactly how many people out there would vote for Trump as opposed to, and it proved, right? He already knew. I think he was just checking it out. That's my view. I don't think he did it as, like you say, a poll thing. I think he did it to be smart, to see exactly how many people really voted for President Trump. And if you look, I think that's how come he did it.
That could be.
Listen, I like Musk. I like what Musk does. I like what Musk calls for. He doesn't like all this rhetoric bullshit. He knows the way the economy is headed. This guy, he's no idiot. He's very smart.
I like a lot of things about Musk. There's certain things about him that give me caution. His AI, the AI research that he's doing, and his brain chip implants. I think okay. I'm in the middle. I think I like Musk for a lot of the reasons you said, I have a lot of concerns about some of the of the projects he's getting into. I think could be very dangerous. And
was it ABC or CBS and one of these big? They told everyone they couldn't advertise any longer on Twitter, and then they turned around 48 hours and they're back on there. CBS. I think that's hysterical. Yeah, that is, because look, everyone knows that everyone out there except for me uses Twitter. I just don't like social media. Because I'm more of a. If you want to know something, give me a call 323-380-5485. I'll be happy to talk to you and tell you my life.
Rob's take on Musk.
Yeah, Rob, go ahead.
Yeah.
What's your take on Musk?
Well, it's pretty clear. I mean, you can't trust the guy.
Why don't you trust Musk?
Fuck Elon Musk. Fuck what he's about.
But
I don't care about him.
Why don't you like him?
You know, at that capacity of having that much wealth and that much control and all
jealous?
these, it has nothing to do with jealousy. It has to do with protecting my own sovereignty, protecting my own well-being.
What's he doing to you to unprotect your sovereignty?
Let me share something with you. You know,
And he's loving
I don't trust many billionaires. I don't trust many of people. I don't trust Donald Trump. I don't trust Joe Biden. They can go kick rocks and suck balls. Elon Musk and his associates, you know, kick rocks. Jack Dorsey. What's the Facebook guy name again? Who's that? Zuckerberg. Screw Zuckerberg. You know, because he has the ability to persuade and hypnotize the public, right? And create and get any reaction that he wants, right? He's a shill, just like Trump is, right? You know, it's interesting because, and you know, some of your listeners may not like this.
Who do you
right?
trust?
I trust myself. I trust God.
Oh,
right? I trust my intuition.
I always have trusted
I trust
God.
my intuition. I trust, you know, this may sound weird, but I trust animals like dogs because they understand emotion and energy, right? You know, I trust my own intuition, my own self. So you have to look at it, you know, what the fuck has Donald Trump ever done for anybody, right? Not a goddamn thing. What the fuck has Elon Musk ever done for anybody? Not a goddamn thing. But guess what? People are constantly.
I wouldn't be using God's name in vain. You keep saying
not
God's
a
name.
damn thing. Not a damn thing.
I wouldn't do that.
No, not a damn thing. They haven't done a damn thing for people, right?
All right.
But that's my own personal
All
opinion.
right, calm down, India man.
Yeah. That's my own personal opinion.
India man's all hyper now. Oh man.
I like, you know, I don't totally agree, but I like, Rob, I like your skepticism, and I like the fact that ultimately you have to put your trust only in God. I mean, that's really
That's very true.
Not in
But
any one person.
Yeah, you got all riled up, I think. Rob got all riled up.
I like a lot of things about Trump, but there are a lot of things where I think he falls short, you know, and I think the vaccine was a glaring
Do you think he
deficit
has a chance?
on his
Let
record.
me ask you all a question. Do you think he has a chance for 2020?
Oh yeah, of course he does.
Yeah?
Of course. Yeah.
Most people who are voting for him are
What do you think about this new special prosecutor that
That's horseshit. It's more of a charade.
the Justice Department just
They
came
want
out
to do
with?
anything they can to stop Trump from running. They've been going after him for 6 years.
What do you think about Ivanka saying that she's not going to?
I don't think Ivanka was a good influence on Trump. You know, I think she was a left-wing influence on him.
Do you think? Let me ask you a question. Do you think that family should be involved, like in that type of stuff? Like
yeah,
that
I mean, they
scenario?
could
Do you think
be.
that-
Look, I don't
think they should be either.
I think it depends on the person.
Hunter Biden, you know,
I
he
think it
was
depends on
involved
the
in his
person and
dad's
situation.
dealing, or his
But-
dad was involved in Hunter's dealing.
Well, one of Trump's one of his chief drawbacks is he really doesn't have he's not always a good judge of people. He's actually too trusting. You know, he trusted Fauci. He trusted
Fauci buried him.
He trusted Ivanka and her husband, and he doesn't really know who's loyal to him. He doesn't really get that.
Well, he's admitted that. He's actually admitted that.
Yeah, that's true. That's, you know, if he would get, you know, he kicked out Steve Bannon, who was a total diehard Trump supporter, populist, you know, conservative, who's still fighting for Trump now, and he kicked him out of the White House. He forced him out. You know, I think because
do you think he did, or do you think that people convinced
people
him
around
to do
him?
it?
People around him did, and that's, you know, he needs to know who the people are out there. And one thing that you know I'm happy to see is that he's looking at maybe Carrie Lake as a vice president because she was
what
in
do you mean
Mar-a-Lago.
he's looking? Just because she was sitting with him having dinner at Mar-a-Lago?
What do you think she was doing? What do you think
he
she was doing there? Huh? She was there because she's going to be a vice president, and she would be great.
Oh, that's just
what?
That's just hearsay.
Oh,
you don't know for a fact that she's going to be vice president.
I don't know for a fact, but that
In
she
fact,
would be a great.
let me-
You don't want look. He was betrayed by that chump Mike Pence.
Well, let's back up.
Mike Pence
let's talk
is a
about,
chump, and he sold Trump out.
Wait, Andy.
That's true.
Let's talk about Arizona, Carrie Lake. So
That's a huge. What a joke that is.
That's a fucking joke.
Oh, Pence.
Yeah, he's right. He's running.
Well, there's other ones too that are running.
Nikki Haley, I heard.
Nikki Haley says she don't lose. She said, look, she going against him, and she just don't lose.
Yeah, right.
Who else is going against Trump that was in the White House? There is another one that's going. His Secretary of Defense, what's his name? Pompeo. Oh, yeah, he says he's Mike Pompeo. He's going to run.
Like he announced.
Yeah, well, he's talking about it. He's talking about it. No, the only person that's really announced it is Nikki Haley, has kind of suggested that, and she hasn't really come out and announced it, right? But then you got idiot people like over in, you got these crazy ass people. I won't mention where they come from, but like there was one out there, Charlotte Smith or something that was down in Florida, whatever, Charmin Smith, whatever the hell. She's got.
Who the hell is Charmin Smith?
She's like on drugs or something. I don't know what the hell.
Who the hell is that?
She goes in and out of surgeries. I don't know who the hell she is, but I saw her on something anyway. She lost her seat in Congress, but she ran for president supposedly against President Trump. She hates Trump, so anything she does, she goes out. But these are people. Anybody can run for president, from what I understand. All you got to do is get on the ticket.
I've heard Charmin Smith has some very serious backing in very high places.
Whatever. Yeah, backing, taking drugs, being locked up. No, I'll tell you who else is talking about running, and he stated it over the weekend, and that's good old Kanye West. He said he's running for 2024.
What a fucking joke.
You think the Jews will vote for him? The Jewish people?
Kanye has he's got a lot of issues he needs to address.
Goodness God.
And,
I actually,
that's the last thing he needs to be doing.
I actually felt bad for Kanye, but I really think that he's just him. That's just him. There's some people that are just born without any type of morals or conscience. It's a sickness, and they're born that way. And I believe he's probably one of them. Hey, let's go back to Carrie Lake for a minute, because there was breaking news in Arizona that the Attorney General's office fired off a letter to Maricopa County regarding the 2022 midterm election day voter suppression. And he's demanding answers by November the 28th. Do you guys think that by the AG now, the Attorney General getting involved, and not only that, there are lawyers that were lawyered up, that the Republican committee had lawyered up with to watch over the elections, and these lawyers have come out with some pretty discerning news, right? That it was actually not real. Allegedly not real. So now this Attorney General is coming out and showing a lot of concerns as well. Do you think that there could be a rerun, a recall? I think so. I have a funny feeling.
Yeah, there should be. There was too many glaring things. There was talking like over 70 of these voting precincts had issues with the tabulators and the printers, which is totally ridiculous. And people had to wait forever. They had problems, putting the ballots in the wrong box, mixing it together. So I think they should definitely do it over again. And I hope the Attorney General of Arizona really puts their feet to the fire here, and the public should demand a new election.
Rob, you think the same thing? I agree.
I mean, come on, it's all in plain sight. I don't even know why he's surprised that this happened, because he was talking about it the entire time leading up to the midterms, right? Yeah. You really can't trust anything nowadays.
I'll tell you what you can't trust is elementary schools right now.
100%.
Let me share with you what's going on in California. So there is a California elementary school that is introducing after-school Satan Club in their curriculum. Have you heard about that? Yeah, and the school is at Golden Hills Elementary School, will soon be able to attend the club sponsored by the Satanic Temple and Reason Alliance. And this is according...
You must got me fucked up. Are you serious?
going on for a while.
Yeah.
These are underdeveloped brains being exposed to the satanic man-made bullshit.
And then you wonder, and I don't mean to say this, but I'm going to say this lightly, but then you wonder why you got crazy kids like this 23-year-old kid that went and shot up this LGBTQ, this gay bar in Colorado over the, on Saturday night. He killed like 5 or 6 people. Yeah, you wonder why these people go, because they're being groomed and being fucked up is what's happening. Let me share this with you, Rob. This group describes its program as self-directed education.
Self-directed education?
Oh, that's a very kind way of putting it.
And that it aims to support the intellectual and creative interests of students. They set up the club at the request of parents, educators, or other community members, according to the temple's website. While the classes are designed to promote intellectual and emotional development in accordance with these TST tenets and not proselytization or religious instruction takes place. This is sick.
Yeah, you know, when I was a teacher, I had a student who was into this Satanism, and I actually wrote a story about it. And I was part of my memoir I wrote about teaching. I wrote a long chapter about this student who got into this, and we would get into these discussions, and she would wear the goat head necklace and everything, and I was really trying to talk her out of it, and it ended up going really south in a really bad way. But it's really, really disturbing, and they try to present Satanism as a way that it's just a rational way of.
It's like their own form of religion or education.
But they try to make it sound like it's rational based and it's intellectual based and it's just about getting your needs met and enjoying your life and enjoying physical pleasure. So they don't try to present it as going against the will of God. So, but there you have it. It's incredible. We live in an age when there's an after-school Satan club. Can you imagine that? I mean, that is just.
I can't even imagine. Even it just.
What I'm interested in finding out is like how many idiots sign up for this bullshit. Like, you know what it is?
From what I'm hearing, Pennsylvania already has it. It's happening in states now. It's not just happening in California. It's already happened in Pennsylvania. It's happening all over the globe, a country right now.
Yeah, this is like, it's like, Andy talks about it all the time. This is like when Ray Dalio talks about the downfall of the decline of civilization. The decline of a civilization, right? That forced, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. Ray Dalio makes it really clear that the values.
Do you think it's because of that, or do you just think that maybe it could be that Satan? Because look, if you read the Bible, if you believe in God, it talks about how Satan will, do these sort of things, and it seems to me like more and more of the satanic religion / now classes in school.
Well, I'm not religious by any means.
And more popular.
I'm not religious by any means, so I haven't read the Bible. But I do know one thing: there is negative energy, and that's negative energy, right? The bottom line is this: is that to be a parent of a child and allow them, or to be interested in having your son or daughter go to this insidious after-school program. Like, you must have to be a real fucking dumbass. You must have to be, completely lost as an adult who had terrible development as a child, who has nothing going for themselves in life, and is digging themselves a deeper grave than where they already are in.
Listen, that child, I call him a child because he was only 22 or 23. I don't know how. He was in his 20s, this kid that shot up this gay club.
And that's sad. Why would you do that to somebody?
Let me tell you, probably, and I'm thinking they're fucking our kids up in this. I haven't, from what I'm hearing now, they're trying to say that, or I don't know, allegedly, I'm just hearing this from in the background, that his father was a big MAGA supporter. This is what they're saying now. The father was a big
They always say
Republican MAGA supporter. Oh yeah. It's going. They're going further back now. What's interesting is
this kid on psychiatric drugs.
I don't know the whole.
Exactly.
I don't know the
You
whole.
need to know where his brain was at.
I don't know the whole story about this
They
kid.
almost always are.
But Andy,
they almost always are on
I
psychiatric
was looking
drugs.
at a flyer. All right. So the night he shot him up was a drag show. I guess there's some kind of trans convention this weekend or something. I don't know really. But anyway, that next morning was a brunch. Now listen to what brunch is. Now, for me, when you go to brunch, you sit down, you have your eggs, your bacon, your meats. Brunch is like a lunch with breakfast, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, their brunch was a drag show for all ages.
Who's brunch?
The gay club. Now think about it. For all ages, including cocktails. Now, are children allowed in clubs? I'm just wondering.
Only if it's a drag show. Other times they're not. The time they're allowed in there is when it's a
But
drag show.
kids aren't supposed to be around alcohol if a club is opened up. It's against the law. The bar should have its license pulled, right? Well, anyway, that's what was in this. I don't know, if this. These are things that probably trigger these kind of people's minds. I'm just thinking. I always look at myself like this. I always put myself in that person's perspective, even though I would never go there. I put myself in that person's perspective, just like with the Elon Musk poll thing, right? I put myself at Elon Musk to think, why would Elon do that? Well, he would do that to see how many people would actually vote for President Trump, or former President Trump. And then the other with this gay club shooting, I'm thinking this kid went when they had all this going on, and then Sunday was supposed to be some kind of trans thing or something. So I see why.
So wait,
No, I disagree with that. No, I disagree. Hold on. I disagree.
Why do you disagree?
Because this guy, I mean, to have the audacity, to have the energy, to have the willingness to fucking murder human beings, whether they're transsexual,
well, fucked up.
gay,
These satanic clubs and all this kind of shit fuck our kids up.
I mean, it doesn't matter if they were gay or transvestites or transsexuals, whatever the hell it was, or a drag show. Who gives a fuck what it was? He had the the mental fortitude to actually commit murder, and he killed, 6 or 7 people, you said?
I think it was 6. I'm not really sure.
Yeah,
believe me, I'm not for him at all. But
he still killed people.
These things that these kids they put in these
that's
kids'
somebody.
heads nowadays.
Well, that's somebody who's unable to deal with the capacity of where life's headed, what he's seeing in front of him. If he's disturbed by these ridiculous, stupid drag shows that, if it's a drag show, okay, adults, whatever, go fuck yourself, whatever makes you happy, right?
What would you do, Rob? Let me ask you a question. If somebody dragged your son into a drag show.
Number one, I wouldn't be in that position.
Okay.
Number one, I wouldn't be in that position.
Yeah,
right?
but you're getting angry over this. Just
I'm not getting angry over what it is. It bothers me for the fact that this person here decided to murder people.
Yeah,
That's
agree.
what bothers me. Nothing else bothers me except for that. But I would never put myself in a position like that.
Do you think they should allow children into bars that have alcohol and show a drag show?
Absolutely not. I don't. Well, number one, I don't want to ever show my son or my daughter sexuality until they're of age.
What if
until
you don't
they
have
find
a
it.
chance and they're in school and one of those gay books that they have out
I'm
now
already prepared for that.
Your son about instead of Jack and Jill went up the hill, Jack and Jack went down the hill.
Well, guess what? My son's not going to be in that position because I've already figured schooling out in a sense for that.
Okay, good.
Right.
Good.
I've already figured out schooling for that. But the bottom line.
What I'm trying to say here, Rob, is there's what's happening out there with like these satanic clubs and
I get
the way they're grooming our children nowadays.
You're absolutely right.
Trans and all this stuff. That this leads up to a person finally just popping.
Yeah, but you should have the capacity. You should have the capacity and not murder somebody. There's other ways of handling it. Ways of handling it. And if you're so upset that
if you're going to do a drag show, don't do it in a bar. Do it in a in a location that, if you want to let children in, if you're a parent and you want to let your
but if
children,
you're a parent and you want to expose your child to that, then that's
well, let's just say,
I have a question about just what happened. When
I don't know.
When this guy went in there, there were children in there when
No, I don't think. No, I don't know. From what I understand, it was at the nighttime, and the next day was an all-age.
Oh, okay. But this
show.
was at night.
This was at night, and I don't know the whole story. It's really tragic what happened, that these people died. I understand it, but the point is, what leads people to do things like that? And this is what I'm talking about. There's so many evil people out in the world, and a lot of this evil comes from what they've been taught. Is what they've been taught.
it's what they're absorbing.
It's what they're absorbing. And we wonder why people do the things that they do. Well, let's face it. What's happening out there.
I mean, let me just say one thing is that human nature doesn't really change. No matter how society changes, human beings are human beings. Like in markets, the markets are always run by fear and greed, and they're always. You have these constants, and human beings. We have a dark side. We have a murderous side. It's in the one of the first stories in the Bible is Cain murdering Abel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he was Abel gave more of a sacrifice to God.
That's right.
And he felt inadequate. So when somebody feels inadequate, people can do horrible, horrible things, and that's just human nature. That's something that it's in us all the time.
That's
it's never
exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yeah,
and that's where I was leading. That's exactly what I was leading to, and I'm glad you said that, because this has been going on forever and ever, right? And at one time, listen, we all have to realize that and this is the point, this is why I brought this up. Look, doesn't matter if you got guns or not. If you outlaw guns, guess what? It's going to make it worse, because it's going to become a rebellion, and they're going to have more and more guns. This is why I brought this up, because Biden came out and he's like, we need to take guns off the street. Well, guess what? I agree there shouldn't be as many guns on the street, but you can't stop it. Like you just said, Cain and Abel. That was the beginning, and it just continues to evolve. That's why climate change is bullshit. It just is going to continue to evolve. There's no way of stopping all of this. Whether you're going to have a hurricane that's a season that is more than the other, it's just the way life is. We got more people on the planet, right? Well, according to Mayorkas, he's saying that we don't have enough people in the United States, and that's why you got to bring people. It's true. You got to bring people over to breed in the United States. Bring a bunch of illegal aliens into the United States and breed, because we can't breed enough.
I think my point is this.
Our sperm ain't getting out there enough. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I think my point is this, just to taper off. I think my point is that these individuals who lack the capacity, they're not our leaders. They're not the ones who are going to make a massive difference and make the world better, right? These are not the individuals who are going to go ahead and be the creators to help people push their massive ideas to create great abundance for the universe. These are the weaklings of the universe. That guy who did that, conducted that murder, is a fucking weakling, is a fucking minuscule little bug, right? Just like Biden, who was able to find his way and create some sort of clout for himself to say some stupid shit like that. Because it's kind of like this. You tell a child your curfew is at 10 o'clock, get home by 10 o'clock, and they don't show back up till like 2 o'clock the next morning, right? So,
evil, no matter which way you look at it, Rob, evil is going to be there, is what I'm trying to say. It's like the way the world evolves, right?
Yeah, you're right.
People have to die. They have to die. Whether we like it or not, people have to die. And sometimes I feel like this satanic bullshit, and that's why I want to bring it up as well, is a way for them to get into people's heads to do things that they do. Right. And this guy, believe me, if you put bad in, bad comes out. Satan is bad. Satan is darkness, right? If I put you in a room that was pitch dark and black, you'd fall. You'd be falling down because you can't see in front of you, right? You'd be in pitch darkness. I mean, you can't see nothing in front of you. Well, that's what I'm talking about. These people have nothing in front of them. They're in complete darkness.
They're blind.
What do you think they're fucking doing to these kids when they let them go to these classes? This is what I'm talking about.
Yes.
It's darkness. These people are blind to the fucking fact, right? So, and they're not even, they're worse than, these satanic people are worse than atheists. We're talking way worse than these atheists. And then you have light. And if I put you in a room with light, you can see. You can see what's in front of you, right? You can, and that's the point I'm making here.
Yeah, and I agree with you.
And for people that are in darkness, they're not going to see what's coming forward. And we're talking the economy is about to go downward. Excuse my language. I get upset when I hear this stuff about satanic and Satan, because that right there is them trying to move forward, but they're still in the darkness. Well, guess what? I surround myself in light and love. As long as you keep yourself in the light, all good things will happen to those, because you can see yourself moving forward. And that's why I see what's coming up forward. I see the economy, but then you'll have people that are in the darkness, like Biden. Biden's in the darkness. You can tell.
Oh, he's lost his mind.
Yeah.
No, he's in the darkness.
Yeah, obviously. He's
The whole,
not even there.
all those people that follow Biden, they're all in the darkness. I'll tell you what was else in the darkness was American Express.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
Over 80% of American Express cards or anything to deal with American Express, and there's still, a lot of it is down right now, is not working. Now, what's the odds of that? C-Day is coming.
Yeah.
American Express, they may be testing.
Yeah, that's why when you're talking about light, the physical manifestation of light is gold. Gold is light in physical form. It's the physical representation of light, and silver reflects that light. So you're talking about that, and gold and silver are really actual condensed.
It's been around since the biblical days. You think about it. Gold and silver's been around forever.
It's condensed energy of light in the physical world, and that's why we trust it as currency, because it's connected to that principle, and that's why every society, no matter where you go on earth, has had gold and silver as money. It's just no coincidence if you think about it. You know, wake up, people. Think about it. What's really valuable, and not only that, but it's really, you know, the Bible says that only gold and silver are money. There's no other money. Constitution says the same thing. That's the only form of money. And you have to have a really strong foundation in society. You have to have value, money that has real value. And that's why, you know, we're talking about Ray Dalio and the period we're in the decline of a civilization. The money is always debased and devalued. So what happens? People start to go back to the original principles and values that the society was founded on. And that's the stage we're in now. And that's the stage you're in now. You're not out, you know, you who are listening here, you're not in some other place. You're right. This is you. This is your life. And as Rob always says, get your house in order. Get back. The dollar is crumbling. The financial fiat system is crumbling. It's happening right now. You got to wake up. You got to take action.
Yeah, if you want to talk to Andy Moore, give him a call at 800-753-8534. Request to speak actually to Andy or Rob or myself at 323-380-5485. Or you can talk to Hunter. You can talk to Charlie. There's a bunch of us in here that will discuss these particular situations. But get yourself out of darkness. If you're in darkness, give us a call. We'll show you how to get into light. And you can start off very lightly as far as getting into light. But focus on what's coming, not what it's – because I'll tell you something. If you're not seeing it, then you're under a rock and you're in darkness. And, you know, they need to do something about these satanic operations being able to now get into children's eyes and ears.
Infiltrated the school.
Unbelievable. Because that's where it begins. Yeah. Remember, the beginning and the end, right? And if Satan can catch you when you're in the beginning, then they educate you to move forward into it. And just think about it. think about this, Andy. If you've got these kids that are learning this satanic stuff, and I don't know what they teach in it, what kind of morals, what anything they teach in this, it can't be good. Seeing a thing with horns on its head, and that's exactly the photos that I see in the temple pictures that I see. And
I'm just thinking of a funny Saturday Night Live skit where the parents are, they're taking their kids around, and it's like, are you taking little Johnny to the drag show? Oh no, the drag show's tomorrow. Today is the Satan Club. Oh, okay, right. And
what is the Bible?
The happy family going,
Andy. Don't you think? And listen, I don't want to get too far into this because then I'm going to have all the haters on me. But let me just tell you something.
They're already hot. The haters are already on you. You got to.
Andy? What do you? Well, I don't want any more haters. Yeah. What do you think about? Here's my point I'm making. I got to say this. Tread lightly when I say this.
No, don't tread lightly.
Don't tread lightly.
Just say it and let the chips fall.
Sodom and Gomorrah. What does it talk about? Talks about evil. Talks about men sleeping with men, women sleeping with women, and fornicating, and all these sort of things. And what did God do to Sodom and Gomorrah? What did he do? He destroyed it.
Yeah, there's actually a traditional understanding that the reason Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed wasn't just because of you had guys sleeping with guys, but because actually in that society they made marriage between men and men. They made that a law, and supposedly that's what did it. Because they're always always.
Oh, you're talking about in
that society, because there always been gay people, and and the Bible does prohibit it, of course, but it was because the society went so far where they said, okay, this is normal, right? It's like okay, the Satan Club is normal. These drag shows are normal, right? And they're putting it in schools and they're making it part of society. So we're really getting down to a similar place with the values of society have become so corrupted. And
so let me ask you a question then. If drag queens and shows like this are normal, then why is it not normal when somebody does something that upsets the other side? I mean, what's the I don't understand.
Say again.
Like if you slap a girl on the butt, right? Or a guy on the butt. What's? I mean, I don't get what you're saying. Anything. So nothing is normal, or everything is normal.
We're saying the values are so corrupted, and
everything, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we're in a place where the traditional values of the society throughout, for hundreds of years are being overturned now on every corner, and we don't have, it's much easier to have people will be more supportive of a drag show and things like that than a Trump rally or
that's the point
or somebody having
what's the difference?
Or somebody having like during the pandemic, the churches and synagogues were all closed, right? You had liquor stores open, you had strip clubs open, but you couldn't sing in a church, and you couldn't have you exercise your First Amendment religious rights. So that's what I mean. The values
in Canada, they still they still kind of like do that kind of stuff. You don't have religious rights.
I'm never going to forget the way the people were treated by the government. I'm never going to forget that.
Persecution.
For the persecution that was done.
What the Bible tells
for
us.
One of the greatest the vaccine and the whole pandemic is one of the greatest evils. It's the greatest evil I've experienced in my lifetime in terms of the effect on people.
Well, get ready because it's looking like the evil is coming back. I mean, listen, they're now in Los Angeles here and other places I'm hearing, they're not forcing it yet, but cases of COVID are coming up. Yeah, it's looking like it could very easily become another forced mask mandate because now they're literally recommending, in fact, you can't even go into any medical place or doctor's office, period, without a mask over your face now. And it's getting to the point where they're saying that more and more cases are coming up. And now Beijing is shutting down again because now people are dying of COVID, and they haven't had people dying of COVID for a long time. This is why you have, here, think about this. We got millions of people crossing over our border without any type of COVID test or anything like that, without any mask. It's so bad that thank God for Governor Abbott in Texas, because he's literally deploying military tanks to various locations at the border. Could you imagine now? Think about this. You go down to Texas now, and at the borders, you see military tanks lined up against the border. Now, Biden ain't doing that. In fact, I'm sure Biden's having a hissy fit because Abbott, his friend, is lining the border with tanks.
At this point, I don't think Biden could find the border on a map.
Right. Or Kamala.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's our borders are. Hey. Kamala Harris, the borders are. Right?
Yeah. Kamala.
She's doing a tremendous job, that one.
The worst I've ever seen. The worst. And I've actually met her. I met her at a thing here in LA years ago.
Kamala Harris?
Yeah.
That's the thing when she slaps her arm?
Yeah, it's
Venn diagram?
She's like a school teacher. In fact, she should have been a school teacher.
Come on, don't insult her. Don't insult her.
She'd probably be one of those. Anyway, I won't go there. Hey, there's some other breaking news, and this is very serious, that the United States now has, after Rocket Man, and by the way, Rocket Man came out with his daughter and his wife over the weekend, over a missile. I think it was over a missile launch, showing one of their missiles. But it's interesting because they came out and said, please, and they were basically telling us, do not deploy any more of these B-18 bombers or any kind of drills or tests around South Korea that would jeopardize North Korea. Now, isn't that what Putin said about Ukraine? And what, remember? And he literally started ganging his people all around, deploying all his tanks and trucks, and did it around the winter months, right? When it was snow still on the ground, things like this. And the United States kept doing things to provoke it, and the fake news media kept saying that the Ukrainians were now learning how to fight and to do all of this stuff because the United States was showing them and was already starting to supply them with missiles and tanks and different things as well. Well, the United States redeploys B-18 Lancer bombers over Korea after the North fires a powerful ICBM that could reach the United States. And where do you think it would reach in the United States? Alaska. Or it could even reach California as far as what they're saying. So it's interesting. I don't know if Rocket Man would do that because he likes Hollywood. He likes Rodman. Dennis Rodman. Yeah. I used to hang with Rodman back in the days, earlier in the days. Oh yeah. Say, baby, I could make all kind of money. He would tell me how he could make money just by being there, and he wanted me to fund him. He wanted me to. You
guys in business together?
No, we never did, but he wanted to. He wanted some of the money.
He seems like really.
He's got his issues. I won't ever say nothing about Rodman. He was my friend. He was pretty crazy. I attended some things with him, but he was crazy. He's like.
Did he invite you to North Korea?
No. Listen. He was all about how much money he could make.
How did he get friendly with North Korea? How did that come about?
Basketball.
But how? I mean,
because Rocket Man liked Rodman, and he had Rodman come over to North Korea.
He invited him over.
Yeah, and set up a basketball thing, and he liked basketball. Yeah. No, he's Rodman's okay. He's just fucked up in the head. He does a lot of used to do. I don't know if he's still doing. Dennis, I don't know if you're still doing all that or not. But he used to do a lot of partying.
Dennis,
we
you
all
need to
party
get yourself some gold and silver, Dennis. Give us a call, Dennis.
Have you seen his teeth? He got gold.
He's got gold teeth. That's great, but you need some investment grade gold, Dennis.
Oh my God, I've seen some of these.
Okay, we'll be happy to help you right here in Hollywood, right? Hollywood Boulevard. You know, there's a lot of characters on Hollywood Boulevard. I think you'll feel at home. We'll make you a great deal. Come on in.
Listen, before we sign off, you guys got anything you want to share before we actually sign off? Andy, you got anything you want to share? FX has been crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
we're finding out McCarthy now actually got money
from
this Sam the Stam, Poodle Hair Stam man.
With the turbulent times we're in, you really, really need to get some hard assets. It'll help you sleep at night. It'll help you protect your assets for the future. We're in some really, really turbulent times, and that's we just don't know. I mean, things could get a lot worse, and it sounded like the government's saying that now too. They're finally admitting it, like they finally admitted inflation. So get your house in order. Take care of what you need to do. Give us a call.
Rob, you got anything you want to say before we sign off?
Yeah, just don't be an ostrich. You know, be aware of what's in front of you and what's coming.
That's when they're putting their head in the dark hole.
Yeah, exactly. And give us a call.
800-753-8534 or 323-380-5485. There's a lot to discuss today, and there'll be a lot to discuss tomorrow. We'll keep you up on the FX thing if you're not keeping up on it yourself.
Day by day.
Subscribe to the channel. Don't fall for false people out there. It's a lot of hoaxes out there.
Trust in God.
Trust in God. Trust in your heart, because that's who gave it to you. Was God gave you that heart. And just watch out. There's a lot of these people out there that are preying on the elderly right now, and we call that elderly abuse. Don't fall for it. 800-753-8534.